Shalom, friends of Israel. I'm Lizerbram, National President of Jewish National Fund USA. Thank you for joining us for our daily briefing from Israel. We are in day 11 of the war in Israel, and today we will focus on the work of our affiliates. We have a short video to share with you from the Central Arava, sharing their work as they take in evacuees. And then we will go over to the mayor of Ramat, HaNegev, our friend Mayor Eran Doron. So let's show the video.
נמצאים אצלנו כאן אורחים מאשכול. כל מי שמגיע מהעוטף מקבל אצלנו את המקסימום. אנחנו בסוף יושבים פה במקום בטוח ומרגישים גאווה ושאנחנו יכולים בכלל לעזור.
אנחנו באמת מקבלים חיבוק לא הגיוני בכלל, מהערבה. גם אם מחר פורץ שלום עולמי, אין לה לחזור, בסדר? צריך להבין את זה, הבתים שרופים, יישובים שלמים, קהילות התפרקו.
אתה לא לבד, הייתה זאת דקירה קטנה, זעזוע פתאומי ומהיר, נכון, איבדת שליטה לרגע.
מאיפה באת?
קיבוץ צורים. רק בקטנה אני אגיד לכם שזה מחוליית מחבלים. אם מזה יצאתי מחוליית מחבלים ביום שבת, שירה עליי ככה, כמו בסרטים, ממקלע, כמו שדאש, אז אני מברך על כל רגע שאני פה.
אתם מסודרים? כן, מסודרים. ניצן. משדה ניצן. ואתה מייתד?
גם הוא וגם היינו בריכה, היינו סרט.
הרבה אנשים, להערכתי 400, 450, ומחר יהיו הרבה יותר.
אנחנו בקיבוץ ארנר, מעוטף עזה, ותודה לעיניו שאירחו אותנו ועשו לנו ארוחה כזאת.
כל הכבוד לתושבים פה, שבאמת ישראל היפה, מארחים פה המון משפחות, גם ללינה וגם למזון, ודואגים לנו לכל דבר. אין מילים.
אוהבים אתכם.
Doron.
Hello everyone. Hi Sol. Thank you for having me. I see many familiar faces. So hello everyone, and I will start from the end to say that we will win. We will win because we don't have any other alternative. We will win because this is our own land. We will win because we are right, and we will win because we can accept the violence that happened, that showed us what will be if we won't take care of it now. I know that I have 10 minutes, so I'll try to be as brief as I can to tell you a little bit about what we've been through, and the video is always better than my lousy English. But I think maybe the most important thing that we now realized, and everyone in Israel is very sorry about it, that all those debates about the judicial reform, everything looks so worthless now when you face this pure evil of what we experienced. I would like to tell you in really 2 minutes part of how we were prepared ourselves to something and what happened. First of all, we learned, as always, that that we didn't prepare during before it, what is not that things that not been practiced and used during routine time, during emergency, they won't work. What's working during the routine will work through the emergency. And the second assumption of our conception was that we will be by ourselves. Unfortunately, those two assumptions were right. We were prepared in advance for all kind of things. I'll give you two things. One is that we developed here a few years ago anti-squad terror exactly for this scenario, that people will penetrate to our area, which is not in the Gaza envelope, but it's on the Egyptian border, and ISIS was a threat. So we established a anti-terror squad, part of the among the farmers from our community, that they will do the immediate response. Secondly, we understood that one of the problems that we don't communicate. Ramat HaNegev is spread over 20% of the state of Israel. I have 15 communities, and if the WhatsApp or the telephone is not working, we cannot commute. So we already 2 years ago we started to use those radio. That if I'll now use it, and I'll try to see if they call me, Chamal Me'eran, they will respond. Because if you don't have the WhatsApp, you can't, and if you don't have the radio, you can't. So we did the radio. We started to do Telegram groups to an alternative to the WhatsApp. And if the WhatsApp is not working and the Telegram is not working and the radio is not working, so you have satellite telephones. And if the telephone satellite is not working, so you take people as they did 2,000 years ago, and you send them by cars, by jeeps, by horses. Those are two examples to how we were prepared to those two scenarios, that will be by ourselves and that we need to be prepared. I'm saying it because I think what's happened is that nothing worked, and unfortunately, it's still not working. And without you, believe me, and I know that each one of you, I know you by person, I know that your heart with us, you feel it here in your guts. And if it was if you could, you would go through this screen and come to work in our emergency room. I know it. So I want you to know that you help a lot. Why? Because when you hear this amazing support that we couldn't, I can't tell you how important it is. Thousands of soldiers going through this region, thousands, and they see the Israeli flag and American flag, because we saw what does it mean that America is stand by us, and we saw what is the JNF-USA standing by us, and we saw, and I made sure that all my residents will listen and will hear and will read and will look the Biden speech, that for my understanding, it will be something that my grandchildren will learn about it in school, because he said very clear and cut what is the engagement and the commitments of the United States to Israel, and tomorrow he will be here. I'm telling you because we don't have problem with weapons. We have enough airplanes, we have enough ammunition, we have enough vests, we have enough helmets. This is not the problem. We have enough. But the people, the army has enough. But the people that their life destroyed, the first line, people from the Gaza envelope, people that don't have a place to not to live, but people that don't have a place to be buried. On Thursday, we will bury 50 people from Be'eri, one of the communities that they cannot bury their people in their original kibbutz. They won't be able to do it. I want to tell you something. What does it mean that something doesn't work? To show you, to present you something. As this war started, I as this war started, we didn't know. The missiles started to launch. By the way, they launched the missile to Ramat HaNegev, but it was a distraction. They were very smart. They did a distraction. They sent missile to all kind of places that usually they don't send. And then they attacked. And when I heard, I think it was early morning, that Ophir Lipstein, I think some of you probably know him from Sha'ar HaNegev Regional Council, Amir, my colleague, a friend, a brother, was killed and murdered. And at the same, and 20 minutes afterwards, I call the commander police station, the police station here, and I'm calling him and I'm telling him, listen, I heard what's going on. Are you bringing forces? And 20 minutes afterward, he was already dead. And I'm calling to the commander of the division, and I understand that they took our anti-squad terror that we built it to this scenario in our communities, but they took it to the Chalutziot that you know probably very well, all those Bnei Netzarim, Nefesh, Lomit. And an hour after, 2 of the squad were already dead. Few hours afterwards, when I understand that the army is fully trying to understand what's going on, there is one road 222 that connect the Gaza envelope with Ramat HaNegev. One road, 20 miles, even less. 20 kilometers. When the eastern community of Eshkol and our western community is less than 20 minutes. So it was very close. And my prediction was, my assumption is that they will try to attack us. And I'm begging the army to block the road, to block it. Nothing happened. And I'm taking 4 residents of mine. We didn't have rifle at that time. I just have my gun that I never used, but as you see now, I have it here now with me. And we're starting to drive, and we're starting to go. We're starting to drive towards Eshkol region, and we see the smoke. And I can't understand, where is the army? And I'm looking for the army, and there's no army. And I'm moving, and maybe some of you know the geography. So we passed Tse'elim, and then we passed Gvulot. And then we get to the junction between road 222 to the other road is 232, which goes from south to north, north to south, and it's crossing all the Gaza envelope. And there in the junction, I see a tank, and a soldier is bouncing, and it was clear that he's dead. I'm turning left, and then I saw something that it's hard to imagine. Listen, I've been around. In 1990, I was recruiting to the army, so you know my age. 32 years ago, 34 almost. I've been to the Second Lebanon War. I've seen many operations in Gaza, but nothing prepared me to see what we saw. I see cars and bodies all over that were killed, of course, but they were being butchered. And you understand, and you see what is the evil. You saw it. And I didn't see nothing. I saw a little bit, and then we started to see the people that come. And I want to tell you one thing, and I know it because this is I told it to the Minister of Agriculture that came to the Shiva of one of my residents. I told him, we have one moral obligation now to do, and is to take care of the survivors, of the first line of the survivors. They are the most important. Our system, our organization is in 200% more than what we are supposed to do. But everyone does it, and I said, and I pass it through my board and through my people, and I said it, and I'm saying it to you because this is the right thing to do. We need to take care of those survivors that they don't have a place to go back. And the meaning of it is that if those communities won't be rebuilt, the Negev rural area will be destroyed, will be vanished. Now we are 10 days after. The government is a little bit starting now to see signs of life. They will go. They have to go. Without you and very good Israelis, amazing people, we have the greatest nation I could expect. But without this great nation and with your amazing support, the situation would be a huge catastrophe, even more than what it is now. And we're only in the beginning. We are going to a very long operation. People will be evacuated, and we are predicting thousands of people that will come here, cities of tents, but it won't be the Burning Man. It will be people that their houses were burned. And that's what we need to do, to take care of those people. Tali, I think this is enough for now.
So, Mayor Doron, thank you for taking time. JNF-USA was with you before, we're with you now, and we will be with you in the future. So we will be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saul. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay. To Dana Weiss, Israeli journalist, news anchor, and attorney. Dana?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I apologize for having a short time because we have 24/7 coverage and I will have to go to the studio soon. But I think it's important to stress three major points. First of all, I think I've been covering the news in Israel for over 30 years. I started when I was very young, right after the army. And we've been covering everything from the Oslo Accords, the Intifadas, all the rounds in Gaza. We had the second Lebanese war and whatever. And I do not remember a more, on the one hand, troubling, I wouldn't say catastrophic, but really, really shaking event in the history of Israel. And also, I hear a lot of officials from the army saying that this is, and members of cabinet saying that in a way, this is the most important battle, second to the independence war. And not because that there is an ability of the Syrian tanks like in 73 to come down from the Golan Heights and invade physically Israel, because this is a war that is actually attacked. The war has attacked the civilian life. It's attacked the people who woke up in the morning and saw their sheer existence being threatened. And the only way for people the day after to believe that they can live in Israel, they can live in kibbutzim, they can live around the borders, they can live and raise their kids here and see a life here in Israel is only if this war or this period ends with a totally different outcome than what we've been used to. And it's heartbreaking in a sense that many people, including myself, were under the impression that there was a way to reason, not accept, but reason with the enemies around our borders. Okay, so if Hamas is a terror organization but is in control of civilian life, then they would come to terms with things that would improve the life of the people in Gaza. It means you can find a way to reason with them and enjoy the quiet in order to make sure that Israel has a booming high-tech industry and has economy and can support its military needs, and also enable the Israelis to have a sense of a normal life and be the miracle that they are, the startup nation. And this has been shattered. And another thing that has been shattered, of course, is the confidence that the Israeli public had in their army, in their intelligence, and in the belief that there is someone aside from the political establishment that will take care of them, because we're here after a really very troubling month of divide and of this political turmoil, and this was already the earth was already starting to move under the feet of the Israelis, and this was like just a knockdown. Now, let me talk to you quickly about what is happening now. Of course, one important thing that has changed, I think, the sentiment since October 7th are two things. The unity government, the fact that Gantz and Eisenkot are now sitting next to Netanyahu and Gallant and helping them make the right decisions is important for Israelis, but it's also important for Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas because they miscalculated there. And the second thing, which I think is going to change the whole course of things, is, of course, when I heard President Biden in the studio, I had tears in my eyes, and I try not to be sentimental when I'm in the studio. This support, the fact that the president is here tomorrow, the fact that we have, it's not just words, it's actions. We have the carriers, we have the ammunition, we have the support, is a game changer. How big of a deterrence will it be? We'll only know in the coming months, because I think there is a consensus among all the military establishment, political establishment, and I think with the US and all our allies, that Hamas has to go. You cannot have no Israeli is going to live anywhere near the southern border if Hamas is in control. We've tried that. We saw the catastrophic result. So Hamas has to go in a way. Now, you have to understand, for years, Israel has obtained from doing this exact thing they're going to do in the coming days, because it was the day after, and the casualties, the hundreds of soldiers killed in this maneuver, the outcome for economy. These were things that kept Israel from going ahead and dealing with Hamas. This has all been taken off the table. That's where it's going. But the biggest issue now is the northern border. What will happen in the northern border? Now, the intelligence say that they believe Hezbollah is playing, but hasn't decided yet to go into a full-scale war, and that they believe that Iran hasn't planned this master decoy and just waiting for us to go in there and trying to hit us on both fronts. But of course, when you talk about intelligence, and when the politicians and the cabinet needs to hear these assessments of the intelligence, they remember that just 11 months ago, we know where these assessments got. So this is an issue. But so far, Israel has decided. There were a lot of debates, but the prime minister has decided that we are going to focus on Hamas, we're going to focus on this, and we're going to try and do whatever we can not to get to a full war. Hezbollah not have to struggle with these two fronts. Now, you have to understand, the rockets that we see from the south are not the rockets we will see if and when Hezbollah engages in war on Tel Aviv and on the civilian population. It's going to be a different game. There are going to be a lot of tragedies, a lot of losses, and frankly, it's going to cause the Israeli public, they're going to be shaken. Israeli public is going to be shaken. I have to tell you, this is really going to be a scenario that we've tried to avoid as much as possible. But now we hear from the army, we hear from the cabinet that they are ready, they are prepared, they're on the border. The fact that we have the American support here is very important, because we don't need boots on the ground, we need missiles in the air. And the Biden administration has made it clear that if and when we face this multi-zone war, they will be there to help us with the missiles, which is very important, very reassuring. But again, these are very hard days in Israel. Everyone knows someone who's lost someone. You know, I'm going from one funeral to the studio and then back from to the studio to the Shiva and whatever. We all have kids down south. I just got a note from my son that he's closing his phone. I don't know where, what. So it's very, very troubling times. But I think that the unity of Israel, the fact that when it comes to the armies, well, Israel is indeed the strongest army in the region, and it's up to the resilience of the civilian population. It's about the international support, and it's about our political system and our political leaders understanding where we are, how we got here, how grave the situation is, and for them to put aside all their political issues and focus on making sure that we have an Israel that we can go ahead and make the miracle that it is.
All right, thank you, Dana. Obviously, you're busy. We appreciate you taking the time, and we appreciate your accurate.
I want to thank you. I just want to say I want to thank you. I think the Israeli people feel that they are taken care of by the American brothers and sisters, their sisters and brothers in the U.S. and we see what they do your commitment, your recruitment, your enthusiasm, the understanding that we're not alone. Know that it has a lot of, and the fact that you are doing what you're doing has also a lot of influence on the administration vis-a-vis the 2024 campaign. So thank you on behalf of everyone here in Israel, and keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we're going to go to our next speaker, Rabbi Fass, the co-founder and executive director of Nefesh B'Nefesh. Rabbi.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see everyone's faces. This last week has been impossibly difficult. It's been a living nightmare. But sensing and seeing your support and care and compassion is truly comforting. And we're feeling so many different emotions simultaneously, feeling broken and horrified and disgusted and fearful and numb. But at the same time, we're also feeling resilient and hopeful and angry and charged and very unified. And personally, this has been one of the most trying weeks of my life. I cry every single time I see my grandchildren. It's hard to eat without thinking of disturbing and dreadful images. And I think most Israelis, or most of us, we can't sleep. Either we're sick with worry that our children are about to enter into a combat zone, or sick to our stomach of what happened to our citizens and brethren, or just have survivor's guilt and feel horrible that we're able to put our heads on a soft pillow at night. But we must move forward. We need to heal, we need to help. And that's what everyone here is doing on this Zoom. As an organization, as Nefesh B'Nefesh, let me share with you some of what we're trying to do. It's been heartbreaking, but I'll share with you very briefly. We've focused on our responsibilities and our capabilities. We focused on who we're responsible for and how do we leverage those unique responsibilities and partnerships within the government to somehow make a difference. So our missions are threefold. The first is our lone soldiers and their families. I'm not sure some of you on the screen know, but for the last 10 years, since the last 10 years ago, Nefesh B'Nefesh has been the sole provider of services for all lone soldiers from around the world, for the IDF and for other organizations. Lone soldier is a young adult, leaves their family, makes aliyah, and serves in the army. At any one time, there's usually around 4,000 of lone soldiers in active combat from over 64 countries. Right now, since they called up all the reserves, we have around 10,000 lone soldiers that are under our program. I have to tell you that 6 of those soldiers have been captured. 5 of them are hospitalized. 11 of them have been killed. And so they're basics of what we've tried to put in place. These are basics. We created a 24/7 hotline for the parents of lone soldiers from around the world in multiple languages. We have staffs that, it's hard to believe, but we have staffs that are dedicated to going to each shiva, to going to the hospitals of the injured, to going to each funeral. We have social workers who deal with the families of these lone soldiers captives. We're giving free mental health to soldiers who are out there in the fields who are experiencing some PTSD, especially in the forensic pathology area. We're broadcasting seminars from IDF to lone soldier parents in multiple languages. We've done 2 to the English public. Tonight, we just finished one for the Russian public. Around 350 Russian parents just finished a Zoom by us, and supplies for lone soldiers. But there's one project that is unique that we're doing, that we're leveraging our unique responsibilities and capabilities, and that is that we are offering free flights to family members and parents or siblings of an injured or Rahmana killed son or daughter, or families that are having a tremendously difficult time being away from their child who is serving. This morning, hundreds of soldiers called up their parents from around the world, telling them that they had to turn off their phones because they're getting ready from going into operation, and they didn't want the enemy to obviously detect where their troops were. And we've been flooded from parents. We've been becoming the therapist for the parents of giving them that support. Last night, in the middle of the night, a Russian Oleg called us, a soldier, and he said, "I know you're offering for our parents to visit us, but my mother just died from cancer. Could we use the money that you were allocating for the flight for her to help me bury her in Israel? I can't do it because I'm in the field." These are the aspects and the difficulties and the challenges and the heart-wrenching elements that we're dealing with. And then we have the 80,000 immigrants that we're responsible for, that we brought from America over the last bunch of years. 11,000 of them are living in the periphery within our joint partnership with JNF. And many of them are under assault. Many of them are wounded. Many of them are being evacuated. And we're doing basics. We're arranging free therapy and counseling services. We're distributing needs. We offered weddings to all the couples that were supposed to get married in the periphery, and their wedding halls got canceled. And we're offering free weddings at our campus in Jerusalem. We just had one 2 nights ago. It was stunning. And offering transportation to Olim who've lost cars because of all the rockets. What's something unique that we're doing for this population is that we're offering hundreds of grants to the families, to these families in the north and south from the JNF Nefesh partnership that are out of jobs right now. Industries are closed. They're relocated to a different area. So we're trying to help those families. Third is that there is a perfect storm that Israel is experiencing right now within its medical healthcare system. Number one, there's an impending physician shortage in Israel. Number two, there's mass casualties that we've never expected. And three, we have so many physicians in active duty in combat. We are working hand in hand as a partner with the Ministry of Health to bring physicians from abroad, from different countries, into Israel. This is under the radar. We've created a list with the ministry of thousands of names of physicians who are ready to go at a moment's notice. The Army and the Ministry of Health go through these lists, selects the physicians. They connect them to the hospitals or to the Army bases. We facilitate the trip, meaning the entire logistics of the flights, of the housing, of the hospitality, of the transportation. The licensing we do with Ministry of Health. And this is saving lives. can tell you that this is already starting. Over the weekend, we had 9 physicians that landed on Saturday, on Shabbat, and many of them were forensic pathologists. The heart-wrenching fact that there are hundreds of victims that are yet identifiable. This is where we're at. I'm trying not to duplicate efforts of others. I'm not trying to get into the spaces of other remarkable initiatives and organizations. I try to hone in to our responsible parties and the capabilities of what we can do to be a game changer in service providing during this war. Listen, the Jews are very good in finding light in times of darkness. I think we all have faith and hope that we will get to that light soon. I think it's just hard for us that for the last 77 years, we've been chanting and proclaiming never again. And that illusion of never again was shattered 11 days ago. So I've been saying to my family, to my kids, we might not be able to say never again, but we can say never alone. And I very much feel that sentiment. Seeing the hundreds of faces on the Zoom and understanding how many of you are supporting by love and compassion and efforts. It's just really remarkable. Just from the bottom of my heart, and so many of us here, we just thank you so much.
Rabbi, thank you. Please thank all your colleagues who we know so well at Nefesh for what you're doing. And we look forward to coming to visit you as soon as possible. So thanks, Rabbi. And finally, we'll turn over to Jewish National Fund USA CEO Russell Robinson, and then I just have a few closing remarks.
Thank you, Rabbi, Dana, Mayor. I think that what you have seen in the days that we started our Situation Room and these Zoom calls is that none of this is about us at 30,000 feet. It's about us at us being part of a conversation with a family member every single day. And I want to just tell all of you what our family members in Israel every single day are doing as well. Because every morning, noontime, their time, we're on a Zoom call with the Situation Room in Israel. Led by Tali Tzur, all of our staff is coming together, every member of our office people in Israel who have all of the things that you've heard from Rabbi Fass, from Dana, from Doron, are dealing with those circles of family, of people, and they are on the conversation with every single person around. They're hearing the stories and we're responding. Already to date, with your response, we're at $9.2 million. Now, we were thinking about 10 million over a 30-day period. Number one, we'll be there a lot sooner, but number two, the costs are going to be a lot greater. 15,527 people, 15,527 people have either been relocated by us, housed by us, or being fed by us. You have to understand the 2,200 people in the Arava are there in people's homes, in simmers, that with not the closest place to grocery stores, and we cannot only burden the people who've opened up their homes to feed them because they're not in the triangle and being able to be fed by, as you heard from Doron, the Israeli public and the turnout. They are being fed by food trucks that we're sending down. They're being housed and they're being paid for. In people in Mitzpeh Ramon, we have people all over, and I will tell you that every day in our Situation Room, you should know that when we get a call and we're asked about a group that now is coming from the north, where are they going to be housed? We're trying to come up with where is those tents going to be, as you heard Doron, working with Lotem, trying to put tents in an area that is not even, the government hasn't given us permission because it's too close to the north, but understand they don't have showers. So you can't just put people in a place because you could put up tents, but you have to put portable showers. Well, there's not portable showers, and you have family members. And literally Israel's now housing people in schools, but understand schools have those bathrooms at the end of the hall for the children, not for the families. So every day we're dealing with those issues. We're housing people at our Hod Sharon campus. For those who were on the call the other day, you got to see some of the pictures and just to talk to those people. We're going to be hosting them in the Beersheba campus. Again, it's not suitable for families for long term, 1, 2, 3 days, but you're talking about now people that are going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So our costs and our civil defense requests keep going up in Ramat HaNegev alone. Today, we authorized 10 bomb shelters to be placed in Ramat HaNegev. Those are over $200,000 a piece, but there's no choice because they have more people there today than they had there last week. So just to give you an understanding of those everyday decisions that we have to make, and every day that we're looking at what are we doing for the people, we can trace because we're working. And when our Macomb communities, you'll hear from them tomorrow, are providing programs throughout Israel for the kids that have been displaced, and activities today are going on, it's not that we can tell them just to go to Ofakim. They're going everywhere, and they're providing these services everywhere. In Sderot, 20% of the population cannot leave. There's 8,500 plus people in Sderot today that no matter what cannot leave Sderot. These are elderly, these are people with physical disabilities, some people with mental disabilities. There is nothing that is going to move them from where they are, but every day they need medicine, services, and food. This is the situation that we're dealing with. And then you could hear from Nefesh, the lone soldiers who came over to fight, to be part of a nation still under creation. Those were soldiers that were assigned to the places in the Gaza envelope who lost their lives, and family members. And throughout our Jewish National Fund family, we should be reaching out to each and every one of them because they're also in the trauma from a family member. So we are working every day on all of these areas, and we're also planning for the day after. Whether it's in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I was on the phone this morning with Sefi from Nachalos, an entire kibbutz that is relocated to another kibbutz. He said, we are taking care of, by the way, I talked to him on the way to the funeral of his son's best friend. And he said, our people today are taken care of 100%. Israelis are coming every day and feeding us. There is not a lack of one thing that we need today. But every day we're waking up and worrying about what is tomorrow. Because we have to go back. And are we going to go back to bullet-ridden homes, to ransacked homes? Forget the images of the homes that have been destroyed. I want you to take that out of your mind, because those are even going to be a year or 2 year process. I'm talking about just the homes that are standing with bullet holes and ransacked. You cannot send in broken windows, send families back to that. And so we're going to be putting on a multi-million-dollar campaign, Livnot Yachad, to build together, where we will put together volunteer programs for people to come and share, but not today and not tomorrow. Because as Rabbi Fass said, it is a very organized fashion for even the medical personnel to come. It is not the time for people to be going to Israel in all good intentions to become tourists to the people who have to then take care of them. And I'll tell you, at Jewish National Fund, we're not going to be able to do it. We're getting calls all day. If you go, I'm sorry, you're on your own. But there'll be a time when we are going to make a call out. And we're going to need you there, and we're going to rebuild those communities in the fastest, in the most organized fashion, so that, yes, the reveal moment for those people when they come back to their homes is not the images what they left, but the new images which we helped create. And yes, it's going to be an image that's still with all the pain and trauma that they're going to have, and the people that are coming back, the greatest battle will be fought. The day the battle will end is the day that they will be returning home, because that's when the trauma will set in. That's when the therapy is going to be needed. That's, sadly to say, the resilience centers that we built are going to be overflowing. But those are the images too that too often people forget about, and the work that people are going to forget about. But we at Jewish National Fund USA are not going to forget, because it is not something that we do as an emergency. It is something that we're doing together with the people that are our family members. And so we're going to be there as we were yesterday. We're going to be there today, and we are going to be there tomorrow. And I ask you to keep posting on social media. These Zoom calls get more people. I'm telling you to post about our campaign. I'm telling you to keep asking and telling the story, and asking and telling the story. Yes, this is what you can do. If it's our JNF future or our Musk kids that came back from Israel that have already raised almost $200,000, teenagers. Let's get every synagogue and every person to start a peer-to-peer. There is nothing that you can say you cannot do. This is the moment that everybody must do. And today, yes, it's about giving, because that's what's needed. There'll be the moment where we're going to make the call out to you, yes, to continue to give and to come and work. And then we'll make the call out, and we'll all go together. And in that spirit of what we've had in Israel and what we've built in Israel, this moment will pass and we'll sing together. But we need you now. Keep standing strong. Keep coming together with us. Keep building with us and building together. And that's how we get through this. Thank you.
So thank you, Russell. Thank everyone for joining us. As you know, Jewish National Fund USA announced a $1 million match from an anonymous donor, which we achieved before the end of last Sunday. And we just learned of another $1 million match, which will start today and which will end at sundown on Friday. We urge you to support our critical relief efforts at jnf.org/support Israel. Every dollar goes directly to those people and the areas that are in greatest need. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And please remember the great words that we heard today. Thank you for joining us. Am Israel Chai.